Good morning, welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. This is the first of I don't know how many live streams today, to be honest. And of course, the Ahn Rho Project is a self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems and challenges in my life, as well as a self-improvement process to reach the goals and heights I've set for myself. Today's live stream is, well, how many live streams I'm going to host, I don't really know. So welcome, and it's probably going to be a marathon. Take a look in the title and take a look at the stream. You can tell that, looking around the room, there's actually a lot to get done if you have been keeping up to tabs with what I've been doing on my channel. But today is going to take quite a pivot. I'll start off by saying that there won't be much of an introduction today. If you want to get an introduction, a good gist of what I do on stream, you can take a look at my previous live streams. But like, for example, yesterday morning and the days before that, I do an introduction pretty much every morning at practice. Now, today is going to be different because if you take a look, and I was debating, if you take a look at the live stream title, it even says that it's a bad day, a slow day, and I'll get to that in a second. But if you take a look at the window, it's bright and sunny outside, so there's quite a contrast, and you see all the ambient lighting reaching into my room. And so the irony is that it actually looks quite beautiful. You look at my room right now, it's actually a hell of a lot cleaner than it was a couple of days ago. And one thing for sure is that even though, I just like the contrast, there's a good irony, and it's a good time to tell a story right now because of this juxtaposition between the beauty that you have before you and just the chaos, the internal chaos that's going on inside right now. I'm melting down today. I melted down yesterday, actually. I kind of collapsed and I didn't get anything done because if you've been keeping up with my live streams, I suppose you could say that the past 3 months have been absolute hell, from finance, employment, business, volunteering, relationships, co-workers, caregiving for my guardians, and groceries and daily basic stuff as well, all the daily chores. Everything's just coming together and it's been real hell. And so today, I'm just going to, in the first of however many live streams I'm going to host today, I'm going to post a second live stream maybe a couple hours later to indicate that this is a marathon, or maybe it'll be half an hour. I have no idea what today's going to look like, I'll be honest with you. I just know that I have a lot to get done and that I'm in horrible shape to get anything done today, and I'm going to elaborate about why that is. I'm going to tell a story. So yesterday afternoon, I went out and I went to, just get some groceries, and it was stalled because of the fact that, I've been doing this project. I have a full-time job. I have to care for one of my caregivers, one of my guardians who is severely ill. And at the same time, of course, I also have a side business. So this project plus a business plus full-time work, and plus, of course, caregiving for one of my guardians, of course, then that's on top of all the other shit that goes on in life, whether it's investment or insurance or just getting adequate sleep, keeping yourself mentally sane, getting enough nutrition, and getting all the basic things like groceries and food, and just everything, transportation. Even the most basic things seem to be a challenge nowadays, at least for the past 10 weeks or so. So yesterday I was late. I made a live stream. If you take a look at my previous live stream, this is a sub-series, of course, and every live stream has several sub-series, which I touch upon in my introductions. So yesterday I hosted 2 live streams on BDMP, standing for the basics, decontamination, purification. And if you take a look down here, there's a lot of stuff that's new, but up there it's actually a lot cleaner than it was, say, just a couple of days ago. And I want to say that obviously because of I've been very productive actually for the past 5 weeks, for the past 5 days to a week or so, and I got a lot of stuff done. I hit a pivot yesterday. I guess pushed too far, and I did get a lot of stuff done yesterday morning from my business, invoicing and all that kind of budgetary stuff. I also did some scanning and stuff of some documents. I managed to sort out the products for my business. And then I got the inventory around the room sorted out as well in terms of my own personal belongings. Tossed away a lot of recyclable and composting garbage and food that built up over the course of the couple of weeks. I sorted out some paperwork. I had a plan actually for what I might cover today, which I'm ironically doesn't seem like I'll be covering today. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, maybe I won't. Paperwork, really, lots of mail, lots of stuff like that. And then there's a whole bunch of devices, electronics, and gifts. On top of that, I, of course, also was in touch with my caregivers and had a conversation with them too. And then at the same time, I was also kind of, I don't know, thinking and planning about what I should do with regards to the relationships I have with my colleagues at work. I also have an obligation, of course, to host some sort of, as they call it, friendly visiting service for one of my clients. And I had a plan to get him connected with one of my guardians right now because they both really they're both in troubled times right now. They both have severe health issues with them or their family, whether that's my guardian or one of my clients who is over 90 years old. And so during COVID-19, again, I don't have to explain what the issue there would be with him. Of course, he's locked in. And very depressed. And so, needless to say, you have, there's a whole bunch of myriad of things, and that's on top of me just trying to, make some cash deposits for my commissions and stuff like that, and getting even my basic food groceries down here at the bottom. So it dragged on to about 12:30 yesterday before I could leave the house. Now the funny thing is, I'm looking at the time, it says 6 minutes, that's good, but needless to say, usually I plan to leave at latest by around 10. And the ideal time, which I was able to keep up with about 3 months ago before things went to shit, that was way back in about August. That's 4 months ago now. It's crazy how fast time flies when you're so busy that you can even hardly breathe. But back in August, I would basically get to my work. I wake up, I get to work, I get the groceries, I get out of the house by around 7, if not early, anywhere between 6:15 to about, I don't know, maybe 7:30. So that's about an hour time gap between the times I would leave. And yesterday, I really just pushed beyond what I could reasonably handle, and so I left around 11:30, maybe even 12, and arrived to get the groceries. Now, it seems like such a small issue, so what the fuck's the matter with that? I mean, get the groceries in the afternoon. What's a big deal? And so I would go and I picked up some groceries from Food Basics. I did a cash deposit, and then just multitasking. I also picked up some devices for a broken. If you see in my previous live streams, one of them talks about just one of the chargers, the cords for the USB extension to say my Android phones is broken. So I was trying to find Lightning versus micro USB versus USB Type C 2.0 to 3.0. I made a couple purchases that were just garbage. So I went outside yesterday and it was like 3-4 hours, going to the bank, going to the groceries, going to get the electronics sorted out, some troubleshooting. It was just, and then a whole bunch of transportation because again, I'm from pretty much a low income family household. So I was like, transportation took up half the time. I was taking about 5 buses across the entire day. It was nuts. Also waiting for 20 minutes out there. And it was just, stuff like that happened, and it dragged on, needless to say, to about maybe 4 p.m. All right. I got back and I noticed maybe about 3:30. And I came back and I had some paperwork I need to do. I needed to scan the invoices to some of my client work, and then upload them and everything. By the time that I had finished, I hadn't eaten anything since breakfast in the morning, which I was already late for. So for about 10 hours, I guess I binge ate on the groceries, and I think everything just spiraled downwards from that. Of course, it really means that it started out from being overloaded with stuff to work in the morning, which meant that delayed the time that I was late until all the way up into the afternoon before I could get my groceries and deal with the banking and deal with this and that and this and that, electronics, devices, groceries, purchases, transportation, going back and forth, getting a headache and then get exhausted, going outdoors even just to get some fresh air. It was supposed to happen in the morning. It got delayed to the afternoon, all the way to the late afternoon. And then all the office work that I was supposed to do, all the documentation and the records and bookkeeping, invoicing, happened again, and mail at the even later almost into the evening. And of course, it's winter right now, so it gets dark at around 5. Of course, I'm in Canada, right? So by that time, within an hour, I knew it was going to get dark. And I sat down and I binge ate. I almost ate about half the groceries that I purchased in one setting. I've been having this stress binge eating this habit for quite some time now. I'll stop short of calling it any sort of addiction because it's still within. I'm on the borderline. I can control it, so I wouldn't call this by any means any sort of dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional and it causes me a lot of chaos for my health, but and it disrupts my daily living, but it's not bad enough that I would call it any sort of disease in any way. Besides, aren't we tired of 2020? Everyone's always complaining about this and that, about mental stuff like that, and it's all important, but it's come to the point where no one seems to take responsibility anymore. It's just so filled with victim mentality. So at this point, I don't even want to call it that. Let's just say that I was irresponsible and that I couldn't take care of my health because I was overworked. And so this all kind of spirals together. Obviously, you can tell that everything's coming all together, and based off the story that I'm giving, everything's feeding onto the other. It's because I had too much work, too much business, too much volunteering, too much commitments and obligations, too much healthcare and diseases to take care of my caregivers, of myself, of the housing, of the payments, of the billing, of the employment, of the business, of the whatever, all the shit that goes on, and then the daily amenities from sleep to diet to groceries to anything like that. And then so that all that kind of stuff was overworked. The fact there was too much and I didn't manage it properly meant that I pushed my time to go out and get some fresh air into the afternoon. And that pushed all my office work and all the paperwork into the evening, and that pushed it further. And then I just binge ate. I stress ate on stuff that I wasn't supposed to, and that screwed me over. For almost 3 hours I sat there, and then I just did things I hadn't done in almost about not half a year. That's being way too modest. In maybe 3 months, I just sat there and I listened to music. I listened to some really sad, depressing shit music that was not helpful for me. Adia, if it's that Sarah McLachlan. It just brought him some horrible memories of some difficult times at the workplace where I let down a lot of people. I started watching. Like when I was a kid, I remember it was a very relatable experience for me just watching a bit of Naruto, so in anime. So that I hadn't touched in a long time, but for some reason yesterday I just on the recommended list it was a Shippuden thing. So aside from just listening to some really depressing 80s music from Adia, and a lot of guilt and stuff like that, I was also consumed into some I guess music in Shippuden. If you ever watch Naruto, and one of those episodes was Naruto hyperventilating, and that's exactly how I felt. It was him being conflicted between one of his friends dying, and I believe something like that. Him having to decide between his team member and one of someone else, and everyone was going against him, and everything that he would. It felt like the world was collapsing on him, and he started hyperventilating, and that was the scene that I watched yesterday, as well as listening to all this stupid music as well at the same time. It was not very helpful at all. It wasn't, and I just kept binge eating, and so I went and slept almost at midnight, which is ridiculous because usually I'm supposed to sleep by around 8, and no earlier than that, and so I was more than 5 hours late. I woke up late today, and then of course 5-family household, low income threshold. There is 5 families in this household. We share the kitchen and everything. So someone's already downstairs in the kitchen. I couldn't eat breakfast, and then lo and behold, that's where we are today. From everything, that's the story. And I'm even looking at the time right now, and it says about 14 minutes in. This is the end of the first live stream because that's a long story, and I guess I'm just venting at this point. But needless to say, we'll continue off on the next live stream. I don't know when it will be, but yeah, this is Ahn Rho signing out, and I'll see you in the next live stream. We'll see what happens.